Part 1: Unmasking the Truth. Why attraction cannot be hidden. For thousands of years, human beings have tried to hide their feelings. We conceal our fears, disguise our intentions, and often pretend that our emotions are under perfect control. Nowhere is this effort more visible than in the strange dance of attraction. When someone develops a crush, they often attempt to behave normally. They try to appear calm, composed, even indifferent. Yet psychology and neuroscience reveal a fascinating truth. Attraction is one of the hardest human emotions to hide. The reason lies deep inside the brain. Attraction is not simply a thought or a decision. It is a biological process involving ancient neural circuits, hormones, and unconscious behaviors that evolved long before humans developed language or social etiquette. When these systems activate, they begin to influence the body in subtle but measurable ways. The eyes linger slightly longer than usual. The voice changes tone, body orientation shifts. Even breathing patterns begin to synchronize. What makes this phenomenon remarkable is that many of these signals occur automatically. They bypass conscious control. You might try to act neutral, but your nervous system is already sending signals that reveal the truth. This is the mystery we are exploring today: why the brain makes attraction nearly impossible to hide. To understand this, we must begin with the most revealing part of the human body when it comes to attraction: the eyes. Human eyes are uniquely expressive compared with most animals. The whites of our eyes are large and highly visible. This allows other people to easily track where we are looking and how our attention shifts. Evolutionary psychologists believe this trait developed because humans rely heavily on social communication. Our eyes constantly broadcast information about interest, attention, and emotional engagement. When someone is attracted to another person, the brain activates several regions associated with reward and motivation. One of the most important areas involved is the ventral tegmental area. This structure releases dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for feelings of anticipation, pleasure, and desire. Dopamine does something interesting. It increases attention. In practical terms, this means the brain automatically directs more visual focus toward the person who triggered the attraction response. Even if someone tries to look away quickly, their gaze tends to return. They check again and again, often without realizing it. Researchers studying eye tracking technology have found that people consistently spend more time looking at individuals they find attractive. These extra fractions of a second may seem insignificant, but they create a pattern that observers can detect. But the eyes reveal more than just attention. They also reveal physiology. When attraction activates the brain's reward system, the hypothalamus begins influencing hormonal responses throughout the body. This process triggers subtle physical changes. One of the most visible is pupil dilation. Pupil dilation occurs when the black center of the eye expands slightly. While pupils change size primarily in response to light, they also react strongly to emotional and psychological stimulation. When people see something they desire, their pupils tend to expand. This effect has been documented repeatedly in psychological experiments. Participants who viewed images of people they found attractive consistently showed measurable pupil dilation compared with neutral images. In other words, attraction literally changes the eyes, and this reaction happens automatically. You cannot consciously decide whether your pupils will dilate. The process is controlled by the autonomic nervous system, the same system responsible for heartbeat and breathing. This means that even the most controlled individual cannot completely hide the physiological response. But attraction does not stop with the eyes. The brain's social circuits begin altering other behaviors as well. One fascinating effect involves what scientists call behavioral mirroring. Mirroring occurs when two people unconsciously copy each other's body language. If one person crosses their arms, the other may do the same moments later. If one person leans forward, the other follows. This process is closely connected to the mirror neuron system, a network of neurons that activate when we observe someone else performing an action. These neurons help us understand and empathize with other people. When attraction is present, the brain becomes more sensitive to the other person's movements and expressions. As a result, mirroring becomes stronger and more frequent. Two people who are attracted to each other may begin synchronizing their gestures without realizing it. They laugh at the same time, they tilt their heads similarly. their posture gradually becomes aligned. This synchronization creates a feeling of natural chemistry. Many people describe it as being on the same wavelength, but in reality, this sensation is the result of neural circuits coordinating behavior between two individuals. Even speech patterns begin to change. Studies in neuroscience show that people often adjust their tone, pitch, and speaking rhythm when talking to someone they find attractive. Voices may become slightly softer or warmer, words may come more quickly or more slowly depending on the emotional context. These vocal changes occur because attraction activates emotional centers of the brain such as the amygdala. The amygdala evaluates social signals and influences how we respond emotionally. When the amygdala detects someone who triggers attraction, it increases emotional engagement. This heightened emotional state influences everything from facial expressions to voice modulation. Interestingly, these signals are not only produced unconsciously, they are also detected unconsciously by others. Humans possess an extraordinary ability to read micro-expressions and subtle behavioral cues. Even when we cannot consciously explain why someone seems interested in us, our brains are constantly analyzing patterns in eye contact, body language, and timing. This subconscious perception allows people to sense attraction even when it is not verbally expressed. In many cases, both individuals involved in the interaction may feel that something unusual is happening. Conversations feel more intense, eye contact lingers slightly longer. Silence feels charged rather than awkward. These moments are not random. They are the visible surface of a deeper biological process unfolding beneath conscious awareness. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of attraction is how quickly it can begin. Research suggests that the brain can evaluate potential romantic interest in a fraction of a second. Within milliseconds of seeing someone new, the brain begins analyzing facial symmetry, movement patterns, vocal cues, and emotional signals. This rapid assessment happens before conscious thought even forms. In other words, attraction often begins before we realize it ourselves. And once it begins, the body begins broadcasting signals. This is why attempts to hide attraction frequently fail. A person might insist they feel nothing. They may avoid verbal confirmation. But their nervous system continues producing the subtle indicators of interest. Observers who know what to look for can often detect these signals: prolonged eye contact, repeated glances, pupil dilation, mirrored gestures, subtle leaning toward the other person, synchronized laughter. These patterns reveal what the brain is experiencing internally. Of course, attraction signals vary from person to person. Personality, culture, and context all influence how strongly these behaviors appear. Some individuals are naturally expressive, while others are more reserved, but the biological mechanisms remain the same. The brain's reward circuitry drives attention. Hormonal systems alter physiology, social neurons synchronize behavior. Emotional centers amplify engagement. Together, these systems create a network of signals that leak through the surface of everyday interaction. And because they originate in deep neural pathways, they are incredibly difficult to suppress. This is the paradox of attraction. We may believe our feelings are private, but the body quietly tells the story anyway. And once you learn to recognize the signals, the truth becomes surprisingly visible. You enjoyed this video? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more psychology content. And tell me in the comments, have you ever noticed someone secretly disliking you? What was the sign? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.